Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to study plants, especially from more of a magic, witchy perspective. So what I'm going to suggest is that you might want to consider creating your own plant magic or plant and herb magic journal. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is why you should maybe consider starting a plant magic journal, and then offer you some prompts that you could put into that journal. So right away, you could just grab a blank notebook and start using those prompts to start studying the plants that you identify when you're on hikes, or plants that maybe, or herbs that you want to work with, especially when maybe it comes to spell work and things like that. So I'm going to put Raven down here, hopefully, and I'm going to go ahead and get to the heart of this video. All right, so at a high level, why do you want to start a plant magic journal? So if you are somebody who wants to really start getting into plant magic, plant and herb magic, you want to start working with plants more, maybe you hike and you want to really kind of start working with the plants that you identify when you're out and about. One really great way to do that is to provide yourself just a little bit of structure by creating a plant magic journal or grimoire. And so next I'm going to show you, give you some prompts to do that. But really this is a way of keeping all of your information in one place so that you can reference it later. It's also a great opportunity to really document your experiences with the plants or herbs that you're working with. All right, so now I'm going to run through the journal prompts. So number one is pretty basic. You're going to want to identify the plant or herb name plus a description in the image if you can. So if it's an image where, if you're working with a digital notebook, you can obviously find an image online and put it into your digital notebook. But also if you just have a notebook that you're using, what you could do is print out a picture of that herb or plant, or just describe it and tape it into your notebook. Tip number two, write down the plant information. So what is its Latin name? What is its folk name? Folk name and actually all of the plant folklore and mythology around it. That's going to be really important, especially if you're going to be using or working with plants in more of a magical perspective, because you really want to understand the history of the plant and the folklore around it, the stories around it. I would also recommend, if one of my favorite things to do is to pull. So in addition to folklore with plants, I would also pull in pop culture. That may be a little not mainstream suggestion, but so for example, if you're working with mugwort, right? What does Harry Potter, how is mugwort used in Harry Potter? Because I feel like fiction can be this really cool place to get all kinds of ideas for using or working with the plants, or even informing somewhere deep within us the possibilities around plants and the magic of the plant. Okay, so journal prompt number three, what are the correspondences for the plant or herb that you are working with? So for example, what is the gender of the plant? How do you know? Also, what are the elements associated with the plant or element? So is it associated with fire? Is it associated with water? Is it associated with air? Is it associated with earth? Also, consider what zodiac sign might it be associated with. So obviously these things will require a little bit of research to document, but say for example, a plant is associated with Capricorn or Aquarius, that's going to tell you a little bit of something or about the energy of that plant. Sometimes plants might also have an association with, say, a goddess or something like that. And if you see that, definitely capture that as well. And then you also might want to document any planetary associations. So for example, if a plant is associated with Mars or Saturn, that's going to tell you something about the nature of that plant. All right, journal prompt number four, plant care. So what you want to do is document the habitat. Where is this plant typically found? Cultivation, where does it typically grow? In what kind of circumstances does it usually grow? How do you take care of this plant? What is it used to? How do you, when you're harvesting that plant, if you ever need to do so, how is that going to be done in a way that's best for that plant? All right, so journal prompt number five includes usage. So what are the parts that you're going to be using of the plant for specific spells or intentions? Maybe you're making tinctures, maybe you're creating a potion, something like that. Understanding the parts is going to be really important for that. Also, are there any medicinal properties associated with the plant? So if you know of any medicinal properties, and most of them are going to have them, make sure you write those down as well. I would also make sure to document if you know anything about the plant as far as toxicity, parts to avoid, and also especially if there are plants that you would really not want to keep around a pet that you have in the home. Also, you want to document, does this plant have any uses as far as aromatherapy, for example? And then also, what are the magical properties associated with the plant that's kind of typically known in the witchy world in general? So doing some research to really understand how other people are using the, plants, what do they consider the magical properties to be, and how to use them in any kind of intentional work you might be doing. All right, and then the last prompt I have is really just documenting your experiences. So I recommend that if you do pull a notebook and you're going to, write out these prompts, I do recommend having 2 pages. So like a complete layout where there's, page on the left, page on the right, because you're going to want to leave a lot of space for notes about your own experiences as you start working with the plant, your different impressions, those kinds of things. All right, so that's all for my presentation today. Hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions, just let me know.